So in this video, we're going to be talking about this whole backlash Tyla is receiving from the fact that she considered herself colored, even though she would be considered colored being from South Africa. But let's get into this.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too.
In this video, are the coloreds a buffer class between black and white that was created during apartheid, or have they carved a space and became one of the most unique groups in the world?
So why the internet is tearing down Tyla for saying she's colored? First of all, I think they need to leave the young girl alone. Based on her knowledge, that is what she is. Coming from the country that she's coming from, that is what she's considered, or that is what they would consider her based on her, features. That is what it would call her. They would call her a colored person in South Africa. But the only thing is, I think it's kind of like a good thing because I'm African, I'm Nigerian. It's funny that South Africa, it's in Africa, just like Nigeria is in Africa. And I did not even know this is going on in South Africa. I've heard about apartheid, I've heard about it, but you hear these words and you're just like, yeah, maybe there's some kind of discrimination going on in South Africa. Wherever you have different, races, like there's a lot of white people in South Africa, there's always going to be some kind of segregation, and people are going to group according to where they feel more comfortable. So
now, who are the colors of South Africa? I'm going to put a definition across the screen of what a colored person is. But my definition is you're of mixed race heritage in South Africa.
Of course, white people are going to feel more comfortable around other whites, and black people are going to feel more comfortable around other blacks. But what I'm saying is, like, why the internet is tearing down Tyla and saying, oh, she thinks she's better than others. Oh, she's acting like she's too sassy. She's too whatever. First of all, I just want to say, a lot of times when you hear this, people going at Tyla, it's mostly women.
Tyla got herself in trouble with fellow South Africans because of her interview at the Met Gala with Nomzamo Mbata, and people.
Maybe most of her demographic are women. They seem to care more about this. Men would care a lot too, but I don't think the fact that she considers herself colored is making guys feel like, well, I'm not going to listen to Tyla's music. No, guys are not feeling that way. I feel like it's mostly girls who are feeling like, no, she does not identify as a black person, so screw you.
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too.
Before I was able to discover colored people, interview colored people, and actually know colored people, I was thinking the same thing with Tyla. I'm saying, like, what is she saying that she's not black?
Well, congratulations to you on all your success. You are the youngest African artist to win a Grammy. How did that feel?
It's insane.
You see, if you're in South Africa, you're looking at this like this is normal. This is not normal to have a whole community of just one group of people. Now, that is somewhat normal. Let me take that back. But the name colored. Let me just break down that name colored, because I'm a black American, and I'm going to tie that into why black Americans and colors, we have some similarities, and that's why I feel that we were drawn to each other. So the word...
I'm just super excited for African music and my career.
Now, you're from Johannesburg.
Yeah.
So for people that never been, I used to go twice a year. I love it. Break down the music scene in Johannesburg.
I feel like it's mostly girls who are feeling like, no, she does not identify as a black person, so screw you. You're not going to come and try to get this black dollars and you don't consider yourself a black person. It is really weird when you really think about it, because she's a great artist, There's something called cultural sensitivity. Whenever you go to any country, you may think you know, but you don't know. There's something called cultural sensitivity. Like, you may go to a certain place and you think you know what the people act like. Trust me, you will not really know what the cultural sensitivity of a place is till you've lived there for quite a while. Trust me, when I say a while.
I'm going to give you the colored truth here in South Africa. Now, I have been to many color communities. Of all of the places that I've been to regarding the color community, and give you my honest opinion on the colors of South Africa. Now,
may take you more than 5 years to really know what people are really feeling and what the cultural sensitivity is of a place where you are dwelling in. And sometimes it may even take you longer. So Tyla calling herself a colored person amongst other black people, they're looking at her like, what did this girl just call herself? Like, I don't know what it is. When I see South Africa, you have these different people, all these different folks, even if we're here in the United States, they'll be considered a black person.
In South Africa. That's pretty much my findings, right, of being around the color community, meeting the color community here in South Africa. Now, we all know that Tyla was criticized for some of her comments that she made, being an artist in America. Now,
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
If they were in Nigeria, they'll be called a half caste. A half caste, you probably haven't heard about this. I'm sure if a Nigerian person who is mixed with an American, right, with a white person and grew up in Nigeria, you know, they have white features and black features, they'll be considered a half caste, right? So, not an outcast, a half caste. So, a half caste person is somebody who is definitely mixed. So, that person in America, a half caste person in America will be considered a black person based on the one drop rule. If you got one drop of black blood, you are black, you know? Versus that same half caste person in South Africa, I'm guessing will be considered colored. You know, kudos to Tyla, because as much as people want to hate on her for considering herself colored, I think she just brought the apartheid in South Africa and just put it in front of the whole world and kind of make everybody who may think they know, you have no idea. And now more people are talking about this. I think she's just kind of like brought a spotlight to this, you know. And it also got me thinking, like, when it comes to racism, you've heard about white people being racist, you've heard about other black people being racist, but most of the time when you think about racism, it's always people pointing fingers at white folks for being racist. You know, they never think of themselves as also being racist also, you know. And I'm starting to really feel like us black people are very racist also. When I mean very racist, like, that's probably not a correct English, but I mean, on a scale of who is more for racist between blacks and white. You know, most people tend to think white people are more racist. Actually, I don't agree. I really don't agree. Because if you really look at even within the black community in America, the black community in America, I think they're actually less racist than any other black diaspora in the whole world. Like the black community in America, when I mean they are less racist than any other black diaspora in the whole world, they're actually very accepting. Coming from a Nigerian, because as a Nigerian, before I came to America, you know, I was told, hey, you know, those black Americans, they like to carry guns, you know, they like to shoot people, please don't hang with them. The funny thing is, they look just like me, right? So, I guess my parents, or the people who were telling me that, we are just talking based on what they see on TV, you know? Even within Nigeria, you know, you have different tribes, and even though we all get along well...
Oh, it's cute.
Well, congratulations to you on all your success. You are the youngest African artist to win a Grammy. How did that feel?
It's insane. Like, just to think of all the dreams that I had and how unrealistic it seemed back then, and now I'm here with the Grammy. Like, what the heck? Like,
you know, even within Nigeria, you know, you have different tribes, and even though we all get along while we're in school, but, you know, even the tribes, they do segregate. They do segregate. Like, the Yorubas hang around more Yorubas, the Igbos hang around more Igbos, the Edos hang around more Edos, the Hausa hang around more Hausas, and they all look alike. We all look alike, you know? So, that is why I'm starting to ask myself, I'm like, when it comes to racism, who is more racist? Is it blacks or is it whites? Most people think it's whites, but I do not agree. I'm not saying black people are more racist, but I think it's probably about the same. But lately, I think blacks are actually more racist when it comes to, like, this recent years. I'm not talking about back in the days. I'm talking about, like, modern times, you know? They discriminate amongst themselves. They discriminate amongst other blacks. Like, just looking at the situation in South Africa, for example. Like, if you're watching this video with this guy going around talking to different colored people who consider themselves colored, they almost feel like they are better than people who are considered black people, you know. And the same people who are considered colored, they would just be considered a black person in America, right? So, all this little... Human beings would always find a way to divide themselves or to isolate themselves from other humans, either by eye color, hair texture, skin color, you know, height, weight. Like, we would find a way, you know. It's funny, like, if we all looked alike and all our features are the same, I'm sure we would have used height. Oh, we are the tall people. And then you have the other ones who would say, oh, we are the short people. And then you have the other ones who would be like, oh, we are the fat people. And then you have the other ones who are saying, oh, we are the skinny people. You know, like, I feel like humans would always find a way to segregate themselves, you know. And it's just so funny that human beings, we cannot all be the same. Even within a family. Like, you would see, like, I'm the darkest in my family. My daughter's way lighter than me, and I'm like a black. She's like a light-skinned version of me, right? My brother's way lighter than me. So even within the colored family, their complexion also differs. So within families, it will be shocking to find out that even within families, they're actually being racist towards the darker complexion person. And even though that person is your brother and your sister, and you guys have the same DNA, which is just like crazy to think about that. So what Tyla did, definitely, I think it made this something that people could look upon and be like, yo, this is crazy that this is going on in this part of the world. Like, amongst all the different African diaspora, South Africa, you know, like, if you're not white and you consider yourself colored, no, dude, you're a black person. Okay, that is what we look at you as in America. But if you come over here with that idea, or you're a colored person, and you came to America with that idea, they would just look at you like, no, seriously, dude, we're not rocking with you. Seriously, because you're a black person. That colored shit, forget about it. Okay, so what's you're fairer than me? Who cares? We're all the same. You know, I was watching some video the other day. The guy was like, look, if you take different color cups, right, and you pour water in it, and I ask you, what is that? And I ask you to label all the different cups. You're like, oh, that's a green cup, that's a blue cup, that's a yellow cup. And if I'm like, yo, give me blue, you'll give me blue. Give me red, you'll give me red. Give me yellow, you'll give me yellow, right? But at the end of the day, when you drink out of that, each cup, it all tastes the same. So somebody was basically saying, I actually watched this video on YouTube, saying our bodies is just the shell. We don't even know what we look like. Or nobody know what they look like. All we see is the shell. The person on the inside is what we are. Our bodies is just our shell, you know? So basically, if you want to judge the shell by the color of the shell, what is inside is not the shell itself. So basically, the guy's was basically saying we're all the same in different color containers, basically. Nobody know what the color of the mind or the soul is. Or if the soul is light skin or dark skin or white or black. Nobody knows. So that is basically what I'm trying to say. Tyla definitely made us realize, like, seriously, we heard about racism in America. It's actually worse in other part of the world, because within American community, you see the whites and the blacks, and, you know, they have this little, you know, whatever tension every now and then. But that is kind of dead for the most part. People just hang around who they're more comfortable with. You know, if you see a bunch of white people hanging around each other, that does not mean they're racist. They just like hanging around people that look like them. If you see a bunch of black people hanging together, that does not mean they're racist. They just like hanging around people that look like them, and they're not. That is not even segregation. It's like if I'm hanging with my friend, I'm hanging with my friend. If I'm hanging with my family members, I'm hanging with my family members. If I'm hanging with people I feel comfortable with, it's not like I don't like you. I just feel more comfortable over here. That's all. You know. So, but when you see that within black and whites, you can understand that. You know. But when you see that amongst colored people who would be considered black people here in America, that is just super strange, man. That is like super effed up, you know? And they're holding on to this colorism. Like, oh my God, I'm not black, I'm colored. So meaning you're better than a black person, even though the black person is your dad and your mom. You think you're better than them because they screwed somebody who is lighter and have a different kind of hair. So that kind of affected your mix. No, you're not better than any one of them. You should not feel high and mighty. There's nothing better than any one of you. You know, white, black, whatever. You're all equals. When I mean equal, everybody's equal. Nobody's better than nobody. No, seriously. And nobody look better than nobody. It's just whatever society accept when it comes to beauty standards or whatever. Most people will be like, oh, this is what that model for. This is what Sydney Sweeney look like. What is her name? Sydney Sweeney? The lady they say got good genes or whatever. She does have good genes. I like the genes she was wearing. And when it comes to physical characteristics, she does have great genetics also. There's nothing wrong with that. You have other black women who have great genetics. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just sad that the whole world is having a fit because Sydney Sweeney have good genes. You know, it's funny that is going on while this conversation with Tyla calling herself colored is happening at the same time. It's funny how they're all happening together. You know, shout out to Tyla for bringing or putting a spotlight on this subject, because it is something black people need to handle. We need to actually do something about this, because South Africa, that apartheid, somebody need to go school those people over there. Like, dude, I know you call yourself colored. You're a black dude. Don't let nobody lie to you. You're a black person. But of course, they got their little culture over there, and this is what they've been taught by their parents in school, and this is what is accepted. But honestly, that is just racism. You're being racist amongst yourselves. And Tyla, I just think the black Americans need to forgive her, because first of all, she's young, she's naive, she doesn't know any better, she's just speaking based on experience. How old is she? Like 22, 23? I mean, she's very young, you know. So She needs some slacks. If anybody needs to be, if anybody, even whoever needs the backlash, she's her managers, her management team. They should know better. You know, they should be like, okay, I understand we consider you colored in South Africa, but when you come to America, you better tell those people you are black. Okay? Or if you're gonna claim you're Indian, just go with the Indian stuff, right? Or whatever you look closer to. But whatever it is you decide to choose, you better stick to it. And if you're trying to sell your music within the black community, you don't have to be black to do it. We like good music naturally. Put good music out, we'll rock with it. And we will decide what we think you are. And black people, we are very forgiving. We would forgive a white person. We would accept them in our community. We would accept Kamala, even though she's Indian. Now we consider her black. So we are very accepting. So black people in America are the most accepting of amongst every other racial or amongst every other black diaspora in the world. When I mean like American blacks, they are the most forgiving. They accept Nigerians. Why Nigerians would say stupid shit about the Americans behind their backs. Yeah, we do that. Just because I don't know what it is. I personally don't feel like I'm better than your average American person. I'm Nigerian, but I don't feel like I'm better than them. And that is just a misconception, you know? It's different cultures, and our parents who did not know any better and only watched Americans, you know, stealing and carrying guns, you know, gangster movies, what we see on gangster movies, right? We watch that, and our parents were like, hey, don't be like those people you see on TV. I know they look like you, but no, that's not what you want to be like. So... yeah, but that was what was portrayed on TV. And then I come to America, I'm like, yeah, you do have those hoodlums and people who portray and act gangster and want to live this gangster life. But that is just a small part of the population. You have black people who are doctors, lawyers, well-spoken, senators, politicians, pastors, musicians who are doing great and are not hoodlums or gangsters, you know? So, and that's another big part of the black community also. So let's call a spade a spade. Shout out to Tyla for, like I said, putting this situation and this colorism stuff under a microscope, because it needs to be talked about and addressed. Black people from all diaspora worldwide, we need to unite. You see why we are the most oppressed in the world? Even within South Africa, even the ones who think they're colored, they think they're better than the person who's considered black. Like, dude, human beings need to wake up. Human beings need to wake up. I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're colored, you're bicolored, you're Chinese, whatever you think you are, you're not better than the other person. You're not better than anybody. You know, we're all created equally. You know, you could raise your level of education, you can become smarter, you can become a doctor, you know, but that is just because you worked on yourself, you know, to get there. Anybody from any demographic could work on themselves to become a better person, but when it comes to how we are made, we're equals, dude. If you're white, you think you're better than a black person, you should slap yourself. If you're colored, you think you're better than a black person, you should slap yourself. If you're yellow, you think you're better than a white person, you should slap yourself. If you think you're black, if you're black and you think you're better than a white person, you should slap yourself. If you're white, you think you're better than a black person, you should slap yourself. That is how I feel about this. So it's funny, Tyla, you know, that whole situation she had with Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club got me looking more into this colorism and this South Africa apartheid conversation. Like, nah, dude, black diaspora all around the globe, we need to unite. We definitely need to unite, especially when it comes to what we call ourselves. If we're gonna be black people, let's be black people. All this colored stuff, oh, whatever you want to call yourself. I'm Dominican, you know, I'm a Jamaican, African. Dude, you're black, okay? We need to unite. White people don't come around and tell you I'm Irish. I mean, yeah, of course they could be Irish, or they could be from Scotland, or whatever it is. By the end of the day, just white people, right? Why black people want to call themselves colored and half caste? And blacks and African, it's just so many names, dude. No, we need to pick one and stick to it. And I mean, definitely something we all agree on, I think, so far. Some people think they're African American. Like Eddie Griffin, I don't know if you know the comedian Eddie Griffin. He was saying there are different 3 or 4 type of black people in America. He said you have the Nigga word. You know, I don't want to actually use the N word in this video. You have that guy, you know. And you have the African American. And then you have the blacks. That's 3 sects I've mentioned, which is the Nigga one. You have the African American. You have the blacks, that's 3. And then, which other one? He mentioned one more. African American, black. I don't know. Afro, something. I don't know. It was something else, but he mentioned 3. And of course, the first one I mentioned, which is the N one, is the one that is gangster, right? And the African American is the one that went to college, and the black one is just the one that, you know, still love to serve master. So it's just weird that, you know, black people see themselves in so many different lights. That is not helping us at all, man. It's just hurting us, because the divided we are. The more divided we are, the weaker we are, you know. And the more together we are, the stronger we are. Anyhow, though, let me know what you think about this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks. Bye.